Hello, everybody, and welcome to this quick live tutorial. Apologies for the delay. We were just working out some screen sharing issues, but I'm
It was
here
my
with...
fault.
It was not your fault. It was your computer update fault, your OS update. So I'm here with Eli and Pablo. So we are the co-founders of ProNoCoders, and we're super excited to put on this tutorial about clean URLs in Bubble. And a good question came in from Rico on Twitter. He was asking, why would you want to do this? What's the benefit of doing this? And the benefit is there are multiple benefits. First of all, they look a lot better. Your URLs, when they're clean, they look a lot better. Second, they tend to be shorter. They are easier to remember, which makes them easier to share. And then Google likes them a lot better. So they're better for SEO purposes, getting ranked and getting found on the interwebs. So we're going to get started in just a moment. I'm going to turn it over to Eli, but before I do, if you have not heard of ProNoCoders before, we do a lot of cool things over at ProNoCoders. Go check us out at pronocoders.com. We have the learner membership and the developer membership, and we've just now started a no-code school. So if you're looking to learn Bubble and other no-code tools, check us out. Send me a message, and we'll fill you in on all of that information. Thanks, both of you, for being here. Hi, Eli. Hi, Pablo.
Hi.
Hello.
Eli,
All
you want to take it away?
Yeah, let's go. I guess first things first, since the last time we did a live, my screen was unreadable. Can you see my screen?
It's a little bit small. If there's a way to make it a bit bigger, that would be good.
Let me bump it up.
Yeah, that's great.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah, so this live came about a little bit from a question we received in our Slack group last night, and I thought it would be handy for two things, just to create the clean URLs. And there are plugins out there that do this. Sudsy is probably one of the best, but more and more of this stuff is possible directly in Bubble, and I think it's kind of important to keep up with what can be done natively in Bubble. And if we can do it that way, it's a good way to do it. And the other side of this is just a way of passing data between pages when you're not depending on a page's type of content, right? And that's one of the important things with this is that you have to kind of circumvent the type of content on a page to be able to do this properly. So what we're going to build here is, and I had to reboot Chrome and everything, trying to get my screen to share, but I think we're working fine now. I'll just show you quickly. It's kind of a simple blog page, right? And oh, wait for it to load up. I'm just going to grab this text and pull it down here because I want to get into first off, what is a page path? Because we're using page paths to do this. So we have a domain.com/page/ let's just say a profile ID. And these two, so the page and profile here are considered a path from your domain. Important here, so we can access these values directly through Bubble. And I just want to make a note here that on the version test, so if we're looking at like a live domain here, version test, we would have it would look something like this, right? And Bubble is smart enough that if we're on version test, while version test here is technically a page path, they will ignore it. So this will not be brought back. It will still start at page and profile. But what we want to do is, instead of having a URL parameter where we would have post equals post ID like this, we're just going to clean that up and remove the parameter out of it and just add it to the URL so that we have this nice clean hierarchy here, and we don't have that ugly URL parameter for something that's just a simple blog page or something along those lines. And I guess as another caveat on this, the URL parameters are super useful. So this is not a replacement for them. For filtering, anything like that, you still want to use the URL parameters. It's much easier to grab a specific value. You can just get a URL parameter, say I want this particular one, and it doesn't matter what position it's in or where it's at in the parameters. You can just grab that value programmatically. With page paths, you do have to remember their position in the URL, and so it gets a little more complicated. All right, hopefully that's just to make sure that everyone's kind of online with what a page path is. Change this back to row. Don't know that it matters here, but so this is the basic main page of our blog page. And so you can see we have our domain here. We have the page name, which is blog.
It's a little hard to see the domain. It's a little small.
Oops. Better?
So that's better for watching the page, but actually seeing the URL is tricky.
I don't know if there's anything I can do about that.
It's not impossible.
Let me just do this. Yeah, we can fix that. I'm gonna pop this up here, make it a little bit smaller, and then we're just going to grab the URL.
Also, if you're watching live, please feel free, especially in YouTube, it's easiest, I think. You can send us messages. Go ahead and comment on the live, and we can send messages back, and I can relay your questions to Eli.
Perfect. All right, can you see that URL now?
I can, thanks.
All right, excellent. So, yep, this is the page URL, and we have blog. So we're on the blog page, and then we have a list of blogs here, and you can see I play Mario with my kids a lot. So we have Princess Peach and we have Luigi the Amazing Plumber as authors. And if we click on Princess Peach, we can see now, we didn't update here on this URL, but we can see now that Princess Peach is added to the end of blog, and everything is filtered down by Princess Peach as the author. Same with Luigi. We're just adding Luigi directly onto the end of the URL, and we're filtering by that. So how does this work? We're using the go to page action for it, and we don't have a type of content set on this page. So if we look here, there's no type of content, but we're going to look inside these groups. So we'll go to the repeating group here, and this is just a repeating group of, I have characters. So if we look at characters, we have Luigi and we have Princess Peach, and they both have a slug. And so this repeating group is just, we're just pulling all those characters, right? And then in this repeating group, we have current sales characters, full name, and then we have them highlighted, right? When they are the selected one, we have them highlighted. And the way we're doing this is we're using this get data from page URL. But instead of getting the parameter as normal, we're getting path segments as a list. And so what happens now is, I wish this was showing, let me just refresh this. Okay, so we can see here, so we have the root domain all the way through version test, and then we have blog, which is the first path, and Princess Peach, which is the second path. And so what we're doing is we're going into that domain. We're saying, okay, the second path, if that second path, item number 2, is the current sales character's slug, right? So the current sales character, the slug is their ID. So if it's that, then we're going to match, then we're going to, this condition will be true. We'll show the different colors, we'll show the border. And then to actually set that path, we just have a workflow set on this character, on this text. And we're doing 2 checks here, right? So the first check is just saying, basically, is this, so getting the data from, getting the path segments as a list, again, from the URL, is item number 2, basically, is this character currently selected? And then this second one will run if that current character's is not selected. And so what we do here then is we use this go to page blog, and we're going to send data, even though there's no type of content on that page, we're going to send data here in an arbitrary text. So, and we're just going to send current sales characters slug, and this will automatically add these additional page paths to the URL that's being sent, and Bubble will process them. You can change the URL with JavaScript, but Bubble won't naturally grab those additional page paths if you do that. But if you send it through this action like this, then Bubble will read that. Without a full page reload. You can change the URL and a full page reload, Bubble will read it, but without a full page reload, they won't read that. And then same thing here. So if this is clicked, right? So Princess Peach is clicked, and we click her again, it'll remove her from the URL, and it will show everything. And that's just doing the same thing. So we're going to page, but we're just not sending any data along. Okay, and then in this repeating group, we're essentially doing the same thing. We are getting a search for posts, and our data structure here is posts. We have author, which is linked to the character here. We have content, title, and we have a slug as well there. And so we're doing a search for posts, and we're saying if we're going to limit it by author, and we're going to search for characters where the slug is the second page path in the URL. And if there's nothing there, we're ignoring that, and we're going to show everything. And so that's how this part here is working. Now, generally, the easy way to do this would be if we want to view, sorry, I'm getting distracted here. I feel like there should be something to note those as authors. This has nothing to do with functionality. Don't yell at me, Tanya.
Nothing but love coming your way. Eric Israni says, hey all, big fan of Eli and his work. I agree, Eric. Me too.
Howdy, Eric. All right. I'm just going to drop a title in here real quick. Oh, spot. All right. Okay, so we're going to keep this on the same page, and just going to duplicate this group, and then we're going to give this group actually a type of post. And we're going to grab, so we want to, when we click on this, let's go ahead and set that workflow. So we just click on this text. We're going to do another go to page. And I'm going to duplicate that. We're going to go to the blog page. And so we're going to grab parent groups, posts. Let's get the author's slug first. Then we'll add a slash. And then let's do parent groups, posts, slug. All right, so this will add 2 page paths to the URL. Let's just make sure this works. Click there. Okay. Let me refresh that with that so we can see it, see the URL with the path as we need it. Let's get rid of this. We don't need that. We don't need this. This is group. So this group, this parent group is going to be, or this main group is going to be the main list of blog articles. We want to make sure this is collapsed when hidden. And then we're going to say, let's give this, let's say this is group blog post. Let's say when group blog post is not empty, then we're going to hide this one. We'll duplicate this condition over to this group. And we'll say when it is not empty, then we're going to show this one, hide it on page load, make sure it's collapsed when it's hidden. And then let's change, so we don't need a repeating group here. Just going to grab these out. All right. Thank God for drag and drop. Oh man, that's so handy. All right, so we'll make this parent groups. Oh, I got 2 groups here, don't I? Let's grab these out. Add an extra group in there somewhere. So we'll make this a column. Okay. Now we can do parent groups post title. And then this will be parent groups post author, full name. So we'll just say written by 12. And then this will be parent groups content. Okay, I think that'll work. And then the last thing we need to do here is we're just going to give this group, we're going to say its data source is going to be, we're going to get data from page URL. Actually, that's not going to work. We're going to have to do a search for posts. And then that search will be the slug equals. And then here we're going to get data from page URL. We do the path segments as a list. And then so we can see here, right? So we have blog, that's the page name, that's path 1. Luigi, the author, that's path 2. And then this is the slug that we need to access. And this is going to be path 3. So we're going to say get data from page URL, item number 3. So we'll just back off on that. So we're going to do search for posts, right? So we're searching for a post where the slug equals item number 3, the path number 3 in the page. And then we're going to grab first item there. All right. And then this condition will automatically hide and show this group. So if there's a post to show, it'll show this group. And then the same for our list of things. If there's a post that should be shown, it will show it. Otherwise, it will hide this. It will hide the main group with the list in it. Otherwise, it'll show the main group with the list in it. And let's see if that is working. All right, so there's our post. If we go back, we're back on the list, Princess Peach, click on Sunset, and we're back on our blog post, and we can page back and forth using the navigator buttons on your browser. And this keeps it a nice, clean URL like this. So that is basically it. Just a short live this time, guys. And hopefully that is helpful.
Super helpful. Thank you. We do have one unrelated question from Moses. Why is the Enter font loved by so many people? I seem to remember at least the conversation we had about things like this.
I have an answer for that.
Okay.
As a non-designer, I know the Enter font looks nice.
Yep.
And so it just keeps me from thinking.
Yep.
I just grab the Enter font, and I know that it's popular and people like it, and it's going to look good.
You don't leave it on the default Barlow. You
don't leave it on the default Barlow, and that is
like I do. I would just leave it. So I think you're more of a designer than I am. I think that's what it is, Eli.
I probably am more of a designer than you are. But it is, I mean, I'm just going with peer pressure on it. It's 100% groupthink.
Eli, I think, well, by the way, this was awesome. And I think the audience would benefit from knowing how you can use an index page and not have any pages in your app and use this method.
Sure. Sure. Let's do that. Let's see. We'll just do like a profile type page, right?
Yep.
So let's get rid of. We don't need this anymore. We'll just have our characters, and then here, let's make this. This will be a character. So character, and then we're going to do a search for character. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this into the index page. So what Pablo is bringing up here is the idea of being able to have a profile page for whatever you might need. It might be companies, users, or whatever, but without having that page name between your root domain and the profile name of the person, right? So we'll just say users for now. I'm going to have Luigi and Princess Peach. So instead of it being domain.com/user/Princess Peach, we just want domain.com/Princess Peach. And so going into the using the index page, since there is no page name, the root domain is the index page. We can do this. I think we can do this. I should say that I haven't actually tried this yet, but there's no reason why it would not work. But if we preview this now, let's just see what we have. None of our conditionals should work, right? Because we're going to be grabbing we're going to be grabbing the page path. That's one too many. So where we were grabbing page path number 2, we should be grabbing page path number 3. Yep, that was looking for the blog. This might not work because, yep, no dice.
Doesn't.
It's gonna grab that page path and try to find an actual page that it belongs to.
Interesting. But it's good that we
So-
tried it because we were wondering, right, before when we were.
Yeah, no, I was hoping that would work because that would be fantastic.
Yeah, that would be like the easiest way to create clean URLs for your whole app and kind of have that complete.
Yeah, it didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's going to be grabbing that first page path, right, and trying to route to that page before the index page overloads.
I wonder if that's what the existing plugins prevent, right? There are some plugins that are used to do this URL routing and changing them, but I don't know how those work. I've never had to use them before.
Most of them, I've used a couple of them, and so what happens is you can replace the URL that's displayed and add it into the history of the browser, but Bubble won't read the new page paths, and so you have to change it and programmatically pull those page paths, and so what the plugin normally does is it exposes those paths as states. That's really the big thing that it does is exposes them as states, and allows you to essentially mask the URL. But I don't think any of them allow you to do it on the root domain. None that I've tried allow you to do it on the root domain. Interesting.
Yeah.
On the page itself, it would do it, but not like this. That's frustrating. I was hoping that would work.
No, but the I mean, for all your pages, like just being able to deep link and have different paths as you showed, that's already super useful, I think, because sometimes we have URLs with, I don't know, 5-6 URL parameters, and you're not able to differentiate between the levels, right? Which is something that is super beneficial with your method, that you can actually establish that structure where you go from blog to post, right? Instead of having from blog to author and then to post, instead of having like author equals someone, post equals something, where those are theoretically like the same level, right, of hierarchy.
Well, you can take it even like, blog, author, post, edit, right? Like as your edit page for the author or comment, like you can take it as many paths as you want, and it just, it makes more sense. It's more, feels more logical when you look at the URL. You can say, okay, this is exactly what the hierarchy is. So
makes sense. I loved it.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Well, sorry the index thing didn't work, but
no, you know
so
what?
it
I
goes, right?
just tried that on another project like a couple weeks ago, because that was something a client asked for, and we just weren't able to get it done. So it's no worries.
Probably the best way around it is just to name your page with a single character, right? Like,
yeah.
Just name it with you or for users.
Yeah, I think we went with a short word, but yeah, pretty much
minimizes the issue, but it doesn't fix it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Eli, and thank you also, Pablo, for being here. And we're going to go ahead and wrap up this live. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and shoot them over to team@pronocoders.com. Happy to help you out. And of course, please do go to pronocoders.com and check out our different memberships. And keep in mind this no code school. We just started our first cohort, the beta cohort of No Code School, earlier this week, and it is going really well. And we're really excited about it, and we'd love to tell you all about it. So please do inquire. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Eric. Just saw your comments.
Thank you, guys.